Yibane, we will build it. Olam chesed yibane. We will build this world from love. Yibane, we will build it.
Good morning, Boker Tov, and welcome to today's Elul Soul Brew. Curated voices from around the world bringing you on a process of introspection and inspiration leading up to the high holidays. I'm Rabbi Bluth, host and producer of the Soul Brews with the Beth Tzedek Center for Spiritual Wellbeing. On tap today, we are going to hear from artist, crafter, and inspiration, Jess Deutsch. Jess is coming from New York and will be hopefully bringing us through some artistic inspiration and crafts. So get your supplies ready, and let's see what Jess has to say to us. And one more thing. It's been a joy to meet every single morning on Facebook, YouTube, and the Beth Tzedek website for these morning brews, starting Rosh Chodesh Elul, leading all the way up to Yom Kippur. And please, we'd love to hear from you. So share your thoughts, comments, questions, or whatever it is your soul is brewing using the hashtag #BTSoulBrew. All right, Jess, can't wait to see what we're going to do this morning. Tell us, leading up to the high holidays, what is your soul brewing?
Good morning, everyone. Leading up to the high holidays, my soul is brewing creativity. My name is Jessica Deutsch, and I'm a visual artist and illustrator based in New York. I believe that the practice of creating art before an event or holiday helps carve out time for contemplation and intention setting. Once that piece is then hung up in a wall in your home that you spend a lot of time in, anytime that you may glance at it or walk by it, your mind and body will travel back in time to the experience of what it was like to create this piece. You'll be reminded of all the wishes that you embedded into this piece of art. Because we're spending a lot more time in our homes these days, it could be really helpful to add some art to our walls to help create the atmosphere of our own kind of personal mini synagogues or temples. I've gathered several simple projects that you can make with things that you have in your home or you could easily find outdoors. Let's get started. For our first project, we're going to make a wooden dream ladder. Here's all the supplies you'll need. About 10 pieces of wood that are roughly the same size, some twine or any kind of string or yarn, and a pair of scissors. You're going to next cut 2 pieces of string that are about double the length of the pieces of wood when they're lined up with about 2 inches in between them. You'll then begin to tie all the pieces of wood together. A simple knot should work just fine. Just make sure to pull both ends real tight. And while you're making this, think of all the things that you would like to reach for in this coming year. So once you finish tying all of the pieces of wood together, you'll have this lovely natural looking ladder, and you could hang it up on a wall or from a ceiling with the 2 ends. Thumbtacks should be fine if you don't want to put nails into your walls. And another way to elevate this piece is either with a wood etching tool or even some markers or pens or paints. You could write on each step of the ladder the dream or wish you have for this coming year. For this next project, you're going to need a sheet of paper, a pen, and come up with a mantra or one word that you really want super strongly to bring into this new year. Also, if you have large sheets of paper handy, those could also look really awesome for this piece. So starting from the center of your sheet, you're going to begin to write that word in a circular rounded kind of shape, and you'll begin to repeat it over and over, creating a spiral. You could play with the sizes of the lettering, maybe adding little doodles in between words. I like to add a little dot to separate each word. And think about what this shape means to you. For me, spirals feel pretty appropriate for a new year. It brings out thoughts of growing from the inside out and radiating like a sun or a glow of a moon. So once you finish writing your mantra over and over and over, you'll have for yourself a little mantra spiral. I chose to use the Hebrew word rachamim, which translates in English to compassion. And what's really sweet about projects with lettering and repeating it over and over is that you don't really have to have much skill with drawing, and your handwriting doesn't have to be super perfect either. The fact that you're repeating similar lines over and over creates a pattern which then becomes pleasing to the eye. And as I mentioned earlier, something like this that's done about 10 times the size as this 8x8 page would look really special for some sort of intention setting wall for your home. For this next project, you'll need about 10 to 20 stones. In ancient times, miraculous events were marked with stacking stones and usually anointing them with oil. When I read about these stories in Tanakh, it kind of reminded me of like the first types of public art displays. So during the high holidays, revisit your little collection of stones and try rearranging them in different shapes and maybe adorning them with things from your home, maybe even pouring some oil over it. For this next project, you're going to need a pair of scissors and 2 different colored fabrics. I'm using some denim from some jeans I cut up earlier in the summer and some fabric that I cut off a dress that was too long. You're going to cut them up into a bunch of rectangles, and then you're going to pattern them out into a checkered-like shape. Then begin to write on each square something that is either meaningful to you from this past year, things that you want to bless yourself with the year to come, images that bring up joy, calm, all the blessings that you would want for yourself and those in your household. So once you're done with designing all of your rectangles, you're going to grab a stapler if you're not a super talented sewer and simply begin to staple the panels together. And take your time with this. It's a little delicate, but if you get enough staples in, it should hold it together for a while. Also, if you happen to have a glue gun or fabric glue, that could also work out well, or if you have the time to sew it together, that would look really beautiful. So once we've stapled all of our pieces together, we have a little quilt here. You can either hang it from a wall or flipping it over and then lifting it up so it hangs from a ceiling, or if it's big enough, across 2 chairs. To use as a little fort-like canopy device. In some weddings, people have this lovely tradition of sewing in different blessings that people give to them into their chuppah canopy. And also on Simchat Torah, it is customary to renew our relationship and love for Torah, and sometimes this is done by holding up a talit and doing different rituals underneath it, symbolic of a wedding kind of ceremony. So if you've done any of these projects, I'd love to check them out. Or if you have any other questions or just want to be in touch about art and creativity, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is Jessica_Tamar_Deutsch. Wishing you a really sweet Elul full of inspiration. Thanks for having me.
We will build this world from love.